Welcome to Farm Connections with your host, Dan Hoffman.
We're at Central Livestock Association in Zumbrota, Minnesota, and with me is Bob Young, the manager. Welcome to Farm Connections, Bob.
Nice to be here, Dan.
Well, and thanks for letting us join you on sale day. There's a lot happening today. Tell us about it.
Well, typically, we have a sale on Mondays and Wednesdays. Today happens to be a Wednesday. We'll be selling livestock here on right around noon. We start the actual sale today, and we go through it until we're done and go from there. Typically on Mondays we'll sell market cows, followed by fat cattle, and followed by feeder cattle after fat cattle, and then we go down and we sell baby calves at 4 o'clock in the other ring.
Once they get to your unloading facilities, what happens?
They actually get booked in. They come through the drive-through. Typically a breeding stock or such like that, we have to follow the regulation that we put an identification tag on. Them cows all get put into pens. Now we'll start out this morning with either fat cattle or cows, depending on which way we want to go. It's kind of usually designated by numbers, and then we go from there. But when they leave the truck, they get put into pens, and they're housed there for typically the livestock gets here, and within 24 hours it's usually gone again.
We're noticing that the livestock's well cared for. Can you tell us about the training the employees go through and what happens to the livestock as they move through the facility?
Yeah, everybody, when they first start, fortunately a lot of these people are seasoned people that come along with when we purchase this property, but typically we're all PQA'd and TQA'd, which are certified. We go through classes typically 2-3 times a year. We know the right procedure of how to handle livestock and try to practice some methods. And, it's just something that I guess being the manager and being in the business for so long, I think that the animals are our livelihood.
So what's special about this? Why doesn't a farmer just take the animal to a packing plant or a harvesting facility?
Well, there is some farmers that choose to do it that way. I quite honestly probably a little prejudiced that I like the auction system because I think it's true price discovery. So I think it's a way of putting the animals in front of a bunch of different buyers and allowing them to find the true value of it. So.
For both the buyer and the seller?
Correct.
And each buyer has a bidding number. What's the significance of that?
Well, they all represent their own little special interests. Some of them are order buyers, some of them are company buyers, and we have Tyson here, we'll have American Food Groups, we'll have JBS, we'll have O&S Cattle Company, which represents probably 10-12 different interests, maybe more than that.
And some days you have feeder livestock sales, correct?
Yes. September through April, we have feeder cattle sales every other week. On Thursdays. Typically they're purchased by order buyers, again, by farmer buyers. On a typical Monday, we'll sell feeder cattle at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, usually after the fat cattle sale. Typically on any given Monday, probably 300 to 400 head. So. And
where do those feeders go when they're sold?
Basically, if a farmer buyer buys them, they go back to his feedlot. If an order buyer buys them, they could go any number of places.
Bob, what do you do for the producer to help ensure that they get a good price for the livestock?
Well, part of our job, mine and 4 or 5 other guys that go to the country, we actually assess the livestock out in the country before it ever gets here and give you some ideas whether, number one, whether it's ready to come to market, number two, what you might expect as the market value of it, and all in all, kind of oversee that. And then as far as what we do here to ensure that kind of ability in the sheep and goat industry, obviously, is everything has to have scrapie tags. That's something that the federal government started, I don't know, probably 6-7 years ago now. And if they're don't have scrapie tags for their herd numbers, obviously the Anderson Vet Services are on site here. They can take care of that. And the same way with the new tags for the breeding stock and the boars and sows and the hogs.
And why is that important?
Well, I think it comes back to a traceability thing that obviously with some of the issues at BSC from years ago here, we all practice the traceability. We should be able to find out within a certain length of time, a short time, who actually owned that livestock if there's any issues that come in. I think the scrapie tags are an identification of where that animal actually come from. They can trace back. It's the same thing with the new pin tags that are going into the pigs. And obviously the back tags on cows and bulls and stuff like that is the same process.
So you are selling some breeding stock here as well?
Yeah, we actually have a bull sale every June, and we have some bred cow sales in December and February every year. Actually, the bulls are run through Anderson vets and semen tested to make sure they're sound and of quality. And same thing with the bred cows and stuff like that. They're sleeved to make sure that they're bred and get an idea when they're going to calf and go forward.
What other species are you selling here, Bob?
We sell sheep and goats 4 days a week. We have an auction sale that's been very successful for both buyer and seller on Tuesday mornings. We sell hogs, primarily private treaty, 4 days a week here. And in the facilities that Central owns, we've marketed over 500,000 animals last year.
What else happens here besides just market discovery?
Well, I think Central in general, I think is a company. We've been around 94 years, so we're not a new company. I think that I like to say we have a toolbox full of tools that we use. I mean, we're allowed to source cattle for you, we're allowed to sell cattle for you, we're allowed to hedge cattle for you, do the contracting, both hedges with the CME and packer hedges and contracts. And so I think we're kind of a one-stop shop, is what I like to say.
Bob, I understand you sell other things besides livestock. Tell us about that.
Yeah, we actually have a store on site here called Stockman Supply, selling all kinds of different ag supplies and stuff like that, basically gates, chutes, you name it. That store is open 6 days a week. We have a hay sale that we started here a year ago now, and we sell hay every other Saturday, September through May, and that's been tremendous success.
Bob, what changes have you seen in the livestock auction business in the last few years?
Well, this particular barn here that we're in right now, we have a DV system that you can actually watch it online. It's been an attractive thing for people that can't get to the sale that want to have somebody represent them in buying livestock.
As we walk through the area and we look at people in the diner and they're socializing and they're leaning up against pickup trucks, there's more than just the auction happening. Can you define that? What's going on out there?
Well, I think it's kind of a gathering point. I think it's kind of like going to the barber shop, you know, and everybody gets together, and we have a group of older guys that come in every Monday and sit down, and I like to say they're hashing all the world problems out, but they say they never solve any, but they have a good time.
Nice. And the farmers, of course, when they come in here, they leave with a paycheck, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They can watch their livestock get sold. Within 10, 15 minutes, they're walking out the door with a check. So.
And as they go out into the community, what happens to that paycheck? Does it stay just at their farm or their bank account?
Well, I'm a firm believer that, you know, I think the economy starts with the farmer. I think anybody that knows a farmer would say that he rotates his money. So if he makes money, he spends it on probably agricultural things and stuff like that, but he rotates it. So.
And I noticed walking around and traveling through Zumbrota, they must spend a lot. It's a vibrant community, and I think some of that comes back to the livestock ag.
Oh, I truly believe that. I truly believe that.
Well, thanks for the work you do here. It's a great social gathering. It's a wonderful place for price discovery. Thanks for the work you do, Bob.
All right. Thanks, Dan.